The teaching uses this really powerful analogy to frame the problem. Just picture it, a president's son begging for change. It just feels wrong, doesn't it? It's a complete mismatch between who he is and what he's doing. And that's the exact contradiction that this whole framework is trying to fix.
And this quote, wow, it just hammers that point home. The argument is that a believer's true identity is one of rulership, of authority. So the experience of begging, of being in a state of lack, is seen as totally unnatural. It goes against the very design of who you're supposed to be.
Now, this is a crucial point. The teaching redefines the word perish. It's not talking about losing your salvation here, not at all. It means that someone can be completely saved, but still live a life of defeat and failure, simply because they don't know how to access what's already in their heavenly bank account, so to speak.
Which, of course, leads to a massive question. If believers are meant to be rulers, why do so many feel like they're living like beggars? Let's take a look at the diagnosis that's presented in the source material.
There is no pulling punches presented as the absolute turning point for this entire way of thinking. It's a story about how one simple question led to a divine encounter that basically shaped everything that came after. This personal journey is absolutely key. It kicks off with a call to ministry, which then brings up a very real, practical problem based on his own values. And the search for an answer wasn't just a casual prayer, it's described as an active, 2-week-long quest that ended with a direct, supernatural encounter. And it all came down to this one simple but profound question. Who pays me? Think about it. If you're going into a ministry without a traditional salary, without an organization backing you, you've got to wonder, if I'm not supposed to beg, where does the money come from? And this was the answer. It completely flipped the script. The source of his provision wasn't going to be a church or a board or the people in the pews. No, the employer and the one responsible for the paycheck was God himself. And that changes everything about who you depend on. So that brings us to the really practical side of things. If God is your employer, then what are the terms of the contract? Right? Let's break down the divine employment terms that are laid out here. And these are the conditions of the deal. They're pretty radical. The instructions are crystal clear. You have to be completely dependent on your divine employer. No personal savings as a safety net, no asking people for money, just 100% focus on the work. And the promise? You'll get paid. It's guaranteed. This breaks it down even further, and it draws a really clear line in the sand. It basically creates a firewall between the minister and the congregation when it comes to money. You're sent to the people to serve them. You're not sent by them like an employee. And because of that, their finances are not your problem. That's handled directly by the one who sent you. Okay, so that's the principle. But what about the result? Well, the source provides some pretty specific metrics as tangible proof that this covenant, this binding agreement, delivers. First up, just look at the sheer scale of the operation. We are talking about a workforce of over 30,000 people. And get this, they're apparently planning to hire another 20,000. This kind of massive scale is presented as direct evidence that the system of provision isn't just working, it's growing like crazy, all without typical fundraising. And this table gives us even more proof points. The source claims they have never, not once, missed a salary payment. It also says they've never sought aid from any other nation, and they don't do those high-pressure pledge drives. And all this is happening while they're expanding at an incredible rate. Planting over 600 churches in a single month? That's a lot. And then there's this one, very specific detail, the number 27. This apparently represents the number of consecutive years all the way back to 1999 that the ministry's headquarters has gone without a single power outage from the public grid. It's presented as another real-world sign of a higher level of provision. This one quote really sums up the entire philosophy. It frames human wealth as wretched or basically insignificant compared to the divine source. The point is, God doesn't need our money. It's the other way around. We need his endless resources to refill our own. So when you put it all together, what this explainer really shows is a perspective that draws a direct, straight line from knowledge of divine principles to tangible, real-world results. It really leaves us with this final question to think about. In this framework, are faith, knowledge, and prosperity just three separate things, or are they inextricably linked parts of a single, functioning system?
Have you ever found yourself in a season of life where everything just feels a little off, confusing? Well, today we're going to dive into 5 signs that what you're feeling might not be a breakdown at all, but actually a huge breakthrough. Let's get into it.
Does this hit home for you? It's that strange feeling where you're in the same job, same house, same routine, but something deep inside you is just restless, pulling you towards something more. And the craziest part is, you can't even explain what that more is.
Okay, so here's the big reframe. That feeling, it's not a sign that you're failing or that you're ungrateful. It's a signal that you are right on the verge of a profound transformation, moving from the person you've been into the person you were always meant to become.
We like to call this whole process a holy disruption. Think of it as an intentional shakeup from a higher power, designed to wake you up to your true potential. It's that crucial first step away from a comfortable past and into a much more purposeful future. This quote right here really nails it. Discomfort isn't a punishment, not at all. It's a notification, like an alert on your phone, telling you that your current environment, your current level, just can't support the person you are becoming anymore. You've outgrown it. So here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to walk through these 5 signs one by one. You'll see how each one is a piece of a much bigger puzzle, showing you this amazing process of growth. All right, let's jump into our very first sign, comfort disappears. Now this one can be the most disorienting stage of all. Suddenly, the solid ground you've been standing on for years starts to feel shaky, and the things that once felt so safe now feel, well, kind of limiting.
Clarity almost never shows up when we're all cozy and comfortable. The disruption has to happen first. It's what loosens our white-knuckle grip on the past and makes us willing and even excited to step into the future that's waiting for us.
So let's break this down. What feels like complete instability is actually a divine realignment. That nagging restlessness, it's a purposeful tension pushing you forward. What feels like a devastating loss is really just preparation. And that guilt you might be feeling, thinking you're being ungrateful, that's just what growth feels like. Okay, moving on to sign 2, your appetite shifts. This is where the transformation really starts to happen on the inside. Long before your outer world and your circumstances change, your inner world, what you desire, what you crave, it all begins to shift. And it's like a domino effect, really. First, your desires change. And when what you want changes, your discipline to get it just naturally follows. This new discipline starts to reshape your daily habits, and over time, that forges a whole new character from the inside out. This is deep, sustainable change, not just some quick fix.
So that feeling of boredom with the old things you used to love, that's actually refinement. When you lose enjoyment in things that once took up all your time, it's not a loss. It's you losing your dependency on distractions. It might feel like you're being deprived, but what it really is deliverance. It's clearing the path for what truly matters.
Now for sign 3, and this one can be painful. It's when separation begins. This is when you start to notice this quiet, sometimes completely unexplained, drifting away from people or groups you were once really, really close to. But see, this separation isn't meant to punish you. It's designed to prepare you. To get to a new level in life often means you have to create some distance from the voices that want to keep you tied to your past. So again, what feels like harsh rejection is actually divine redirection and protection. What feels like total abandonment is actually a strategic isolation designed to turn down all the external noise so you can finally hear that inner voice of yours. It's not an ending, my friend. It's a clearing of the path ahead.
So why does this happen? It's pretty simple, really. Your own growth creates the distance. As your values get clearer and your focus gets sharper, you just don't align with the same things anymore. This process is all about removing an unhealthy dependency on others and, believe it or not, protecting your future from relationships that just can't grow with you.
Okay, let's talk about sign 4, resistance increases. Oh, this one's fun. Right when you start to feel like you're making some forward progress, it feels like the whole world starts pushing back. Obstacles, misunderstandings, frustrating delays, they seem to pop up everywhere you look. This resistance isn't there to stop you, it's there to shape you. It's testing your commitment, it's building your spiritual muscle and resilience, and it's sharpening your focus like nothing else
gets
can.
sharper, you
It's
just don't
allowed
align
into your
with the
life
same
not to
things
crush
anymore.
you, but to
This
show you
process
exactly
is all
what
about
needs to be
removing an
strengthened for the
unhealthy
journey
dependency
ahead.
on others,
And that
believe
brings
it or
us
not,
to our
protecting your
fifth and
future from
final sign,
relationships that
which
just
is really
can't
the
grow with you.
foundation for everything
Okay,
else.
let's talk
Your
about sign
identity
4, resistance
clarifies.
increases.
At this stage,
Oh,
you
this
might
one's
not
fun.
know exactly
Right when you
where
start
you're
to feel
going,
like you're
but
making
you
some
have
forward
this
progress,
growing,
it feels like the whole
unshakable
world starts
certainty
pushing
about
back.
who you are.
Obstacles, misunderstandings,
And this
frustrating
is
delays.
the
They
huge
seem to pop
shift.
up everywhere you look.
You start moving from a borrowed
This
identity,
resistance isn't there
one
to
that's
stop
shaped
you.
by what
It's
other
there to
people
shape
think,
you.
to
It's
a
testing
revealed
your commitment.
identity,
It's
one
building your
that's anchored
spiritual
in your
muscle
own
and
truth
resilience,
and purpose.
and it's sharpening your
You just
focus
don't
like
feel that
nothing else
burning
can.
need to explain
It's just
life.
allowing
It's
your life
not
not
things
to crush
anymore,
you,
because your
but to
sense
show
of
you
self is
exactly
all
what
about
needs to be
removing an
strengthened for the
unhealthy
journey
dependency
ahead.
on others.
This is so
and
important.
that, believe it or
brings us
not,
to our
protecting your
fifth and
future from
final sign,
relationships that
which
just
is really
can't
the
grow with you.
foundation for
Okay,
everything
let's
else.
talk
Your
about sign
identity
4 is
clarifies.
resistance increases.
At this stage, you might not know exactly
right when you
where
start to
you're
feel
going,
like you're
but
making
you
some
have
forward
this
progress.
growing,
It feels like the whole
unshakable
world starts
certainty
pushing
about
back.
external
Who you
results.
obstacles, misunderstandings,
So this,
frustrating
as we
delays.
wrap things
They
up,
seem to
just
pop
remember,
up everywhere you
these
look.
you start moving from a borrowed identity, one that's shaped by what other people think, to a revealed identity,
and that
one that's anchored in your own
they are
truth
not
and
a chaotic
purpose.
and it's sharpening your
You just don't
focus
feel
like
that
nothing else
burning
can.
hunger
They
to
are
explain
not
life.
interconnected,
It's
they
not
don't
things
crush you,
anymore, because your
but
sense
show
of
you
self is
exactly
all
what
about
needs to be
removing an
strengthened for the
unhealthy
journey ahead.
dependency on others.
This is so
And
important.
that brings us to our
actually
fifth and
building
final
relationships,
sign,
which
which
feels like a
really the
frustrating
foundation for
delay
everything
is
else.
actually careful
Identity
preparation.
is revealed.
This entire process
you
is
might not
designed
know
to shape
exactly
you when you
where
start to
you're
feel like
going,
you're
but you
strong
have
enough
this
to navigate
growing,
wise enough to share your unique
uncertainty
purpose.
about external results.
So I'll leave you with this question.
As we wrap things up,
Recognizing
where you
everywhere
are,
you
these
look.
you start moving from a borrowed identity, one that's shaped by what other people think, to a revealed identity,
and that
one that's anchored in your own
truth
truth and
and purpose.
purpose.
And it's sharpening your
just
focus
don't
like
feel that
nothing else
burning
can.
hunger,
Deliberate,
which is not
interconnected,
connected,
they don't
stay
crush
with
you,
your
but
sense
show
of
you
self is
exactly
all
what
about
needs to be
removing an
strengthened for the
unhealthy
journey ahead.
dependency on others.
This is so
And
important.
that brings us to our
actually
fifth and final relationships,
which
which
feels
is
like a
really the
frustrating
foundation
delay
for
is
everything
actually
else.
careful preparation. This entire process is designed to shape you when you start to feel like you're strong enough to wise enough to share your unique purpose.
Let's get right
So I'll leave you with this question.
As we wrap
Recognizing
things
where
up,
you are, you start moving from a borrowed identity, one that's shaped by what other people think, to a revealed identity, one that's anchored in your own truth and purpose. And it's sharpening your focus. Just don't feel that burning hunger, deliberate, interconnected, this process is all about removing an unhealthy dependency on others.
This is so
And that brings us to our
Protecting
fifth
your
and
future
final
from
relationship,
which feels like a frustrating delay is actually careful preparation. This entire process is designed to shape you when you start to feel like you're strong enough to wise enough to share your unique purpose.
let's get right.
So I'll leave you with this question.
As we start
Recognizing where you are,
you know, this starts
from a borrowed identity, one that's shaped by what other people think, to a revealed identity, one that's anchored in your own truth and purpose. And it's sharpening your focus. Just feel that burning hunger, deliberate, interconnected, this process is all about removing an unhealthy dependency on others. And that brings us to our fifth and final relationship, which is just a frustrating delay is actually careful preparation. This entire process is designed to shape you when you start to feel like you're strong enough to wise enough to share your unique purpose.
So I'll leave you with this question.
As we start recognizing where you are, you start moving from a borrowed identity, one that's shaped by what other people think, to a revealed identity, one that's anchored in your own truth and purpose. And it's sharpening your focus. Just feel that burning hunger, deliberate, interconnected, this process is all about removing an unhealthy dependency on others. And that brings us to our fifth and final relationship, which is just a frustrating delay is actually careful preparation. This entire process is designed to shape you when you start to feel like you're strong enough to wise enough to share your unique purpose.
So I'll leave you with this question.
As we start recognizing where you are, you start moving from a borrowed identity, one that's shaped by what other people think, to a revealed identity, one that's anchored in your own truth and purpose. And it's sharpening your focus. Just feel that burning hunger, deliberate, interconnected, this process is all about removing an unhealthy dependency on others. And that brings us to our fifth and final relationship, which is just a frustrating delay is actually careful preparation. This entire process is designed to shape you when you start to feel like you're strong enough Let's